Everything said on this podcast is entirely for entertainment purposes only. This is satirical and should not be considered clinical advice in any situation. Please use your own clinical judgment, using your own knowledge, expertise, and research. Consult with your local eye department if you're unsure, and always act in the best interest of the patient. Do not listen to the things that we say and take it seriously.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Glasses Half Full. Thanks for joining us. Today we will be discussing how Schwab no longer has headphones. So
Wow.
Mubarak,
yeah.
that's good
Nice.
to know. It's
They weren't mine.
finally plugged back into the PlayStation. So
Yes. My younger brother was asking them for them back.
yeah, it was impeding him a lot. Okay, is that what you swapped? Is that what he was using before?
No, this is what he ordered on Amazon yesterday.
Nice.
Yes,
Yesterday.
I ordered it yesterday.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully the audio that's been plaguing us for the past over 2 months now will be slightly improved. Here's fingers crossed. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not like anybody's going to hear this for another
Again,
3
yeah.
months anyway.
Yeah,
But yeah, but that's what I'm referring back to.
Oh, yeah.
because previous
We're on
episode,
episode 10.
Oh, what episode is this?
10.
10.
we've
Crazy,
done 9
right?
episodes.
Wait a minute.
Unreal.
This isn't 10.
This is
I've
milestone.
lost too much of my life.
Milestone
Quite
one.
the-
We spent 10 weeks at least of our life.
No, we've spent 30 weeks of our life.
No.
We're very inefficient at this.
We are very
we
bad
have
at
a
this.
lot.
Wait,
of
this
work
is
to
a
do.
big mouse. First of all, double digits.
Double digits.
Yeah.
Should we get the cake out?
Let's leave that cake.
Should we get the cake and put a candle in it?
It's too late for that now.
It's in the fridge.
Well, you should. Can you not count to 10? What do you mean? Why is this news to you? You're here every week.
I'm not really here.
Elsewhere.
He's just here for the jokes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right, okay.
What we will actually be discussing is the super intelligent decision of the GOC to change from CET to CPD. I think that change. What does CET stand for?
Continuous
Ketamine?
educational training.
Educational training. Training how to be educators.
Education and training.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it actually?
It is.
Jeez.
Continuing education and training.
Yeah.
What's CPD then?
Continuing.
Professional development.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Because it's not necessarily educational. It's sometimes, as in it's always educational, but it's not going to be optometry related necessarily. Some of the CPD points you can have for things like management and leadership skills and things like that.
Okay.
I
Fair
think,
enough.
if I've understood it correctly.
Yeah. No.
There's some like about how to run a practice and,
Seems that way.
and how
Absolutely.
to train OAs and things like that.
Yeah.
That you can get CPD points for, I'm sure, somewhere out there. So it's not just glaucoma workshops.
Which we do love.
I love a good glaucoma workshop.
My favorite. I'm just waiting for the stack workshops. It's on a real note. I think CPD is a part of our profession that's heavily underrated because it's the only, well, literally it's the only extra learning that we do unless we go back to do professional
Yes.
diplomas or certificates or
It's-
masters or anything like that.
Yeah.
This is the only thing keeping us up to date.
Yeah.
So it's I feel like it
This
should...
is the only thing that's keeping you with the times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Could you imagine an optometrist who qualified 30 years ago has no clue about how
If there wasn't for any
What an
CPD,
OCT is.
yeah what an OCT is, and now that's such a is ingrained in our daily practice, is almost standard practice at this stage.
Or in 30 years, imagine that, myopia management just is not a thing.
And you actually talk about this. I had this patient. This was actually today. Today they mentioned there was like, I saw this on the news that apparently you can check something in the eye regarding Alzheimer's. You've heard of that, haven't you?
No.
No. Have you heard of it? Because I had never heard of this.
As in, like, I know MS you can have some.
Yeah, that's something. Right?
Yeah,
That's
but
completely
he was talking
different.
about Alzheimer's, or he said either Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. He's like, you can check in the eye, and apparently they want to roll it out into the opticians within the next 10 years or something.
What
I
is
don't know
this?
how true this is.
What is the link?
I don't know. He just said he saw it on the news last night.
Oh,
So-
he saw it on the
Yeah,
news.
this is my patient telling me. I
So
don't know how true
hypothetically,
it
if
is.
this became a large part of our profession,
Yeah, so
we
it
would-
might in the future. It wouldn't be far fetched to think that something like this might occur.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so CPD is something that I feel, at
Are
least
you fact checking me?
Yes.
I feel that CPD, at least myself, I feel like I should look at it a bit less of a chore, a bit more of an
Yeah.
opportunity. That hold on, this is, yes, I don't need to get points. I can just go on YouTube or listen to lectures or research it on my own time.
Yeah.
But it's an opportunity where you're forced to learn. And I feel that in a profession that's so heavily criticized for how the lack of progression.
Yeah.
Yes, you could go work with the GOC, work with AOP, work with pre-regis, work with the college, go do tribunals.
Yeah.
And on the business side, there's the obvious routes that you can take there. But optometry is a career profession that's not criticized, but that's one of the issues that's often brought up is a lack of progression in it.
Yeah.
So for us to be forced and to have the opportunity to develop ourselves, I feel like this should be looked at as a bit more of an opportunity. And maybe if we did look at it a bit more as an opportunity, we'd seek out ones that are better for us, not just the easiest ones, or not just the most convenient ones.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know what, I'm not sure how CET works because that was never part of like my time.
Apologies for anyone
Yeah,
that used to do CET. None of us have ever done CET.
Yeah.
I've never done CET and I have no qualms with CPD. I'm just a innocent bystander.
CET was not part of my time. But from my understanding, how CPD is designed to work is kind of that the learning that you do is more reflective on that. So you're essentially looking at, okay, so where do I want to be in 3 years regarding my career, or like what do I want to learn within the next 3 years? Which scope of my job at the moment is lacking a little bit, and where should I be improving on? And then the whole point is that in that 3 year cycle, you're working towards that. And then at the end of the 3 years, you're looking back at whether you achieved it or didn't, and see what you need to do in the next 3 years. That's basically how it's lined up. I'm not sure how much of that was part of the CET program, but the CPD's lined up like that. And I think it's quite interesting. I say interesting, it's not that interesting, but I think it's quite useful to line up like that because it kind of forces you to look into what aspects of your career you should be looking into and how to improve in your job, basically. But yeah,
I like the way that it's a very sort of holistic. First of all, it's set onto a strict sort of time frame, so you have a hard deadline of when it starts and when it ends.
Yeah.
It gives you a point at the beginning where you set your intentions, you set your plan in motion, and then you go on, and as you do your small reflective exercises as you go along and you progress, there's that final conversation essentially that you need to have with a peer, which is a very good sort of reflective exercise. I think 3 years is an appropriate amount of time as well, because it gives you enough time to do the things that you need to do and progress and make some noticeable change, but it's also short enough that you can remember what you did 2 or 3 years ago and where you were 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, you can think of clinically where you were 3 years ago, probably doing a 90-minute test.
Yeah.
And now look at you.
3 years ago? You guys aren't?
I said 3 years ago, I don't think I was working.
Where was I?
It's COVID, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
We're being furloughed.
Furloughed.
What is CPD? Continuing Professional Development. It's a scheme, points-based scheme that is cyclical in 3 years.
We like points.
Sorry?
The child in me really likes the idea of collecting points.
So you must be on what? 60? 70? So something like that. So yeah, it's a requirement for every fully qualified optometrist. DOs and contact lens opticians also have to do it.
Yeah.
And there's a minimum requirement that you need to do over a 3 year period. And the purpose is to develop new skills and maintain your current ones, or maybe not just maintain, but update, because there's always new studies and new information coming out. So this points-based scheme, CPD, Shoaib, can you tell us a little bit about what the points mean? How many do we need, so on and so forth?
So anything that involves collecting points is something that I'm very passionate about because I'm a child. Essentially, you need 36 over the 3 year cycle. So there's a 3 year cycle from 2022 to 2024 New Year's Eve. You've got 36 points to get in that time, roughly breaks down to 12 a year. Is always a good way to think about it.
Quick math.
You've got to do a minimum of 6 every year, so you can't have a lazy 2022 3 and then do all your points in the last year. You've got to do at least 6 every year. Half the points have to be interactive, so from provider-led sessions that are...
Or it's much easier.
So half of them have to be provider-led and half of them have to be interactive. They can all be interactive. Yeah. They can all be provider-led.
But that's a minimum, as in like you can do more if you can.
Yeah, you can do as many as you want. I personally am aiming for 75 this year.
Okay.
This year.
This year.
Incredible. What a guy.
Wow.
Incredible.
God.
Only 75 left.
How many do we get for this episode?
4?
I think we confirmed 5.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 6 actually.
Are they peer reviewed? Because I'm
This is pre-review
100%.
interactive.
We are peers reviewing.
Provider-led.
reviewing.
Glasses half full is the provider.
Glasses Half Full is not a CPD provider accredited by the GOC.
Yet.
Reach out.
We can work something out. Come on. AOP, we're calling you out every episode.
If there is someone working within the GOC or the college, please let us know how we can get our podcast to be CPD certified.
So 36 points, minimum of 6 year, averages out to 12, half interactive, half provider led. Anything else?
Well, there's the 4 core domains. Obviously,
Okay.
the 4 core domains are professionalism, communication, clinical practice, and leadership and accountability. There's no point you doing 36 points worth of glaucoma training and you've not learned anything about professionalism or leadership and accountability. So you have to at least 1 point in every domain, which is, I think, fairly
That's
manageable.
quite reasonable.
1 point in every domain.
At least 1 point in every domain.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
which
okay.
is quite easy when you think about it.
Yeah.
I think they probably might change that. I can foresee in the future them changing that and saying you have to have at least 6 in each.
I think maybe 4, because it's maximum 4 or something, isn't it? Right?
What do you mean? There's
No
4
maximum.
domains. You're going to get 36
Okay,
points.
okay.
At least one of those points has to be in every
So,
domain.
yeah.
I think they're probably going to increase that in the future because, to be honest with you, 1 in each domain is quite easy.
There's nothing wrong with it being easy, just whether or not
Of
it
course.
would, it would be enough for us to continue your professional development.
Actually, yeah, if you're just working your locum, you just want to get your shift and get done. Does leadership and accountability? I mean, how much leadership?
I mean, it wouldn't really change, would it? Because
Actually, no, it would be a good experience to have.
it would be, but I don't think like your leadership or your responsibilities as the optician or the optometrist wouldn't really change within 30 years. Do you know what I mean? Like the 1 point does make sense.
I'm sure that's why they picked it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair
They know
enough.
what they're doing.
A little bit more than we do.
So, Mehdi,
Yeah.
what is the PDP? Because that is another key requirement.
I
of
think
the
that's
CPD.
a new thing that they've added. I think it was in the CET area. So basically, how obviously we talked about it being a 3-year cycle and it refreshing every 3-year cycle. So every 3 years, when the cycle begins, a new one begins, you need to fill out this thing called a PDP, which stands for Personal Professional Plan, and
The
PDP.
personal
personal
stands for
development.
personal development. Like it's written right here as well.
3 words
I
is
can't
hard for
read.
Mehdi. Three's a big number for Mehdi.
Personal development plan, and basically what it is that you're essentially setting up your goals for the next 3 years and what you want to achieve. So when you first log in, I think most optoms at the moment have already logged in and everything. But let's say if you're a pre-reg and you log in, you're given this to fill out, and you have to fill this out before you can start submitting your CPD points. And once you log in, the first time you log in, you have 3 months to fill this out. So you have 3 months after you log in to fill this out.
Sorry to interrupt. What happens if you don't fill that within 3 months?
I don't know. From my research, they say you're expected to, but I'm guessing
Okay.
you just get a load of emails telling you that you need to fill it out.
You're just expected to. That's fine.
Um,
So you should still be able to log points if you haven't. put
You
in
and
full
you
ones.
Depends
can't
if you get
log
randomly
points.
selected.
You can't log points apparently if you don't submit the PDP first.
I don't think that's true.
It's
not true.
But I don't
Not
think you
from
can.
experience
No,
or
because
anything.
they probably check at the end of the 3-year cycle.
Oh yeah.
So you probably
Okay.
can log in, but it probably won't be they won't count it if you don't have your PDP submitted. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good
You might be able to, but they're saying that you can't.
Yeah.
So the PDP that you fill out has a few different sections. So the first section, so there's a template that they give you. You don't have to fill that template. You can use your own template if you want, but the template is like the easiest thing because it just tells you what you need to fill out.
Just answer the question.
Yeah, just answer the questions and it's easy. But you can fill out your own one and make it pretty if you really wanted to.
Which is what you did.
No.
No.
So there's a little section that you fill out on like where you work, what you're working as, like a resident, locum, that kind of stuff. But then they have like a table, and that's the PDB part. That's the main part that you're looking at. So that part, you're you start one of the columns is learning outcome. So what you want to improve in or what you want to learn. So let's say my learning outcome is, I don't know, improve my glaucoma knowledge. All right. And then you have a date of completion. So the date that you put that you want to complete that specific outcome. All right. And the next column is how it relates to your scope of practice. So why is it important that you're achieving this learning outcome? So what effect will this have on your job and your career?
Able to manage glaucoma patients.
Exactly, yeah. So you're writing that kind of thing. And then the next one is how will you achieve this outcome? So are you going to achieve it through webinars? Are you going to do a glaucoma course? Are you going to do, I don't know, go into a teaching session or something like that? Do the glaucoma MEX. I think MEX has a glaucoma course as well that you can do.
Yeah.
MEX.
Well, not MEX doesn't have
yeah,
it.
but the WOPEC, yeah.
WOPEC has it.
WOPEC has a glaucoma course. Like, how are you going to achieve this outcome, the learning outcome that you've set for yourself? And then you have how will you measure the achievement? So it's basically how will you know that you've achieved it, which is a bit wishy-washy. But if, let's say, for glaucoma,
what is the metric for?
Yeah, what's the metric that you can use? So let's say your achievement for glaucoma is I would have completed the glaucoma course, the higher.
Yeah, the prof cert.
Yeah, the prof cert for glaucoma.
So you're setting your own targets.
Yeah, you're setting your own targets.
And it could be as difficult or as easy as you would like.
Exactly. And you can put 1 if you want, you can put 20 if you want.
Okay.
All right?
You can put one learning outcome the whole cycle.
If you wanted to, yeah.
So it's just an exercise just to get you thinking about where you want to be.
Yeah,
you're not going to be held to this. The GC aren't going to be knocking on your door if you've not done the prof cert.
To some extent. I'll go over it.
Okay.
It ties in with the reflective exercise that you have to do at the end of the cycle as well. So the more effort you put into the PDP, the easier your job tends to be in the reflective exercise.
The more effort.
Based on your extensive experience in movies.
Okay. Because it gives you more to talk about when you're reflecting.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's not as vague. The last part of the PDP, which you don't have to fill out at that point, you can fill out later in the day, is once you've completed that achievement, because you might achieve it before the 3 years is over.
Yeah.
So once you've completed it, it asks you, how has it impacted your practice?
Okay.
So how has this improvement in your knowledge of glaucoma impacted the practice? Well, you can be like, well, my referrals for glaucoma has gone up, or
gone up, or gone better.
Gone down. Sorry, yeah, like I've improved in managing glaucoma, basically, that kind of thing. So you can discuss that. And then submitting CPD is the next part. So you've done the PDP. Okay, you're in the 3-year cycle's begun. Now you need to get your CPD points that you've mentioned earlier on. Essentially, if you've got a provider-led one, you pop in the code. You submit the certificate that they've sent to you by email, hopefully. And also, there's also a reflective exercise that it's called I forgot what it's called, but it's essentially a section where you reflect.
Where are we inputting all this?
This is all on the CPD website. So CPD Optical. Okay. Yeah, it's all on that.
Through the GOC website.
Yeah, through the GOC website.
So just Google GOC CPD, and it'll take you through a portal.
If you go onto My GOC, there's a My CPD button at the bottom right in your login page. Anyway, so you have to reflect on the CPD. Kind of think about what expectations you had from that CPD, how it relates to your outcomes that you're trying to achieve, whether it was worth doing it, not worth doing it, but whether it helped you achieve that, or whether you learned anything from it, what you could look into and things like that. It's a reflective part of that specific CPD. And then you submit it and you get your points. All right? Towards the end of your 3rd year cycle, within the last 6 months, basically. So for this cycle, it's the 1st of July 2024, isn't it? Yeah. 1st of July 24 is when you can first submit this reflective exercise. You can do it earlier if you wanted to, but you can't submit it.
Okay.
It's essentially a discussion with a peer. That's basically what it is. What a peer is classified is it can be any optom, any DO. It can be an employer.
Well, not any optom.
Wait, I'll go over it.
Not any optom.
Not any optom. It can be your employer. It can be any healthcare professional regulated by a statutory body. So that means ophthalmologist, dentist, orthoptist, that kind of stuff.
Are you allowed to call your uncle to have this discussion with them?
No. So it cannot be a relative, a close friend. So I can't do it with either of you. Okay, so it can't be a relative, can't be a close friend, and it can't be an employee.
Okay,
I wouldn't call you a close friend.
I mean, yeah, like where are they going to draw the line? Like we're colleagues. I don't like
I know, like
So it's like, so I can
we
have
can,
it.
we can do a reflective exercise together, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, you're a friend. You're not a close friend.
I mean, you're barely even a friend.
Acquaintances.
Yeah, we're colleagues, as I said. We're here for this and that.
I'm not. Yeah, I'll go to my employer.
But he's your close friend.
He's not my.
He is your best friend. Anyway, so with this reflective exercise, the discussion, you're meant to claim that you've done it, but how are they going to check? So they said that you have to provide evidence. I'm not sure what evidence that is. I feel like you can just send a video of you, like a video recording of you.
Well, we have the
I
perfect
think you
thing.
probably just put some notes on there. Just type some notes.
Possibly. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't think you need to start recording your discussion or something.
Yeah, I'm not too sure on what the evidence is, but
Okay.
If you do, links for the microphones are in the bio.
you know what? We'll bring an extra show. We'll get each and every one of the people that want to come and just do their peer exercises here.
50 quid a pop.
Yeah. What you need to reflect on in this reflective exercise is the CPDs that you have done, progress that you've got through your PDP and how it relates to the CPDs that you've done, and discuss what you want to do in the next cycle, maybe. So what you want to start looking at in the future. And if you, let's say on the PDP, you say you want to learn about glaucoma in that 3 years, but instead you learn about cataract, you can do that. But you need to, in this reflective exercise, say why you've not done the glaucoma and say why you've done the cataract instead. So you have to say why you've not achieved. Okay, it can basically be any reason because they understand that life gets in the way.
Yeah.
But you have to give a reason for why you've not achieved what you've mentioned on your PDP. Okay, and it probably would be extra brownie points if you explain how you can achieve it maybe next time in the future or something like that. And you can also discuss things like feedback that you get from clinical audits. So your own testing audits that you get, or with your employers or employees. So with your colleagues and things and feedback from them as well. But that's basically what the reflective exercise is. Just looking back at the 3 years, comparing it to your PDP that you did 3 years ago and your CPDs that you did along the way and seeing how that all tied into what you wanted to be, where you're at, what you want to be in the future. That's basically how you do the whole 3 year cycle.
What I would take from that, or what I'm thinking right now,
What's for dinner?
keep it not vague, but don't make it so targeted that if you don't do this super specific thing, you fail your targets. Instead of saying, for example, unless you really want to, of course, you can do what you like. Let's say that you want to do professional certificate in glaucoma, which requires money, requires time, requires effort, requires passing exams, etc. Maybe say I want to further my education in glaucoma, which includes getting certain CET points or CPD points.
Yeah.
Is that something that would be
Is that specific enough?
What
just saying a vague
just being
a vague
vague.
notion of I would like to get better at dealing with glaucoma, as opposed to I will have
you can put whatever you want.
Professional certification.
No. So you can say I want to improve in my glaucoma knowledge as your clinical outcome. Yeah, but in that same PDP, how will you achieve it? So you can put the achievement as I want to do the Prof Cert glaucoma course. Okay. In, let's say, the reflective exercise, you end up not doing that course. Let's say you have a couple of CPDs that you do with the glaucoma. You can be like, well, I did improve my knowledge in glaucoma, and I can see that it's improved my clinical understanding of it because I'm able to detect it better. I'm more confident in dealing with glaucoma patients. However, I was not able to complete the glaucoma course because X, Y, Z.
So it's not going to be a slight on it that you didn't get.
They're not going to pull you up and like, well, why did you not do what you said you were going to do?
So it perhaps is good to be super specific and give yourself high targets for something to aim towards and just something to continue.
But as I said, you have to make it a bit realistic. So you can't be like, okay, in this 3 year cycle, I want to do cataract, I want to do glaucoma, I want to do med retina. You have to be kind of realistic.
Why?
I mean, you can do if you want to.
Yeah, I mean,
but you have to give reasonings for why you haven't achieved them in the future.
I spent more time doing medical retina than I anticipated, which didn't leave.
I mean, you can do, but like, if you're thinking on a realistic level, and realistically, the vast majority of optometrists aren't going to do 6 courses at once.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Write it down. Why not? Aim for the stars. And if you don't get everything done, maybe you got one more than you would have otherwise.
Yeah, but realistically speaking, it's about how much you can do and how much you can put on your plate. If you feel like you can do 6 different courses in that 3 years, go for it. Very good on you. Okay, but some people, they want to go as slowly as they can, so they put 1 or 2 for their PDP.
And yeah, I guess there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
What's the most points that anybody's got within 1 year?
Do you know the answer? Yeah,
I don't know the answer. That's for you guys in the
How
comments.
many? Okay, both of you. How many points have you gotten more? Maybe we should talk about where to get CPD points.
Yeah, where can you get them from actually? Because we've been talking a lot about these provider-led sessions. Who are the providers?
So a provider is someone that's tight with the GOC and they've linked up and they're like, okay, GOC, let me host a CPD point for X, Y, and Z. And these can be anything from Specsavers Conference, or it could be
Abdo has one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Could be from an Optometry Today magazine. Both of those are provider-led. The self-directed requires a bit more independence on it. It requires a bit more information and you to feel a little bit more. So whilst you absolutely can, if there's something specific that you need to look into, then there's no reason why you can't. Maybe what you're looking for isn't covered in a PAC conference, what you're looking for isn't on the back of an Optometry Today magazine. So yeah, the interactive ones are the ones where you're actively in person doing something. So that's not something like filling out an Optometry Today back page and sending that in. That wouldn't be interactive. But there's lots of places where you can find them. The College of Optometrists has fantastic resources. It hosts their own ones. Another place to look at is DOCET, DOCET. They have, I don't think CET's got anything to do with CT points, but they have fantastic resources for lectures, workshops, all of that. Not interactive or not as interactive as an in-person workshop.
Are they classed as interactive CPD points?
Yes, they are.
Because you have to fill something out.
Correct.
Yeah. I've heard of other podcasts that have CPD points attached to listening to the episode and filling out a quiz.
Okay.
We need to get on that.
We
might actually get a couple of listeners.
Yeah. There are no CPD points. By the way, in case you've made it 50 minutes in and you've just realised, there are no CPD points for this podcast.
I mean, we're talking about CPD. I think
we do apologise.
This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is clinical advice.
So yeah, whilst we can understand why you may think that you'd be getting 12 CPD points just from listening to this podcast, I'm sorry, I hate to say it to you, the world's against us. What can we say?
We've just literally put down the gaming headset about 1 episode ago.
That had good mic quality. Let's not start.
It was the best audio
we've had so far,
including this.
Yeah,
potentially. We'll find out.
If you work with Specsavers, PAC is the easiest way to do it.
You could be working with Specsavers to go to PAC.
Yes. Yeah, true. But if you work with Specsavers, most likely it will be getting paid for.
Yeah.
If your director isn't, come on, man. But yeah, PAC's probably the easiest. But again, if you aren't working with Specsavers, £116. Okay.
I thought it was 95.
95 plus VAT.
Why do I keep getting scammed?
No, it's plus VAT.
Okay, that's
so
fine.
You're right. You're fine. Calm down.
So yeah, there can be conferences held by your employer, portals by your employer, depending which one there is. There is, I think I mentioned 24 times already, the magazines like Optometry Today. There are mini courses on websites and things like DOCET, the college website, and a few others pop on because these registrant-led ones, they're often not individual. So they are popping up here and there. So if you stay in the loop, you can get in touch with those ones as well.
The WOPEC courses, I think, has CPT points as well. So the cataract one.
I remember the MEX one when I did it. Each OSCE station or each station was a separate CPD point. Nice. So plenty of those.
Wait, say that again.
You know the WOPEC courses?
Yeah.
They have each OSCE station that he did for the MEX one.
You have your MEX?
Yeah.
How many stations?
Like 6.
So you got 6 CPD points just for... And is that for a summation of your whole course?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. It was like...
It's not like you can walk up to 4 stations and just be like, I'll take the points.
No. Not that you'd want to anyway.
Another place that you can do CPD... Oh, it's like some like different companies like New Medica and Spa
Yeah.
Medica have their own CPD webinars as well.
Lots of contact lens providers.
Yeah,
J&J.
J&J has a lot.
They have a lot themselves.
Yeah.
Medicon, I've seen, has got quite a lot.
Which
So-
follow us now.
They do.
They follow us.
Yeah, they got Medicon.
Sponsors, please.
So yeah, that's CPD in a nutshell. Thanks for joining us, and hope to see you again next time.